this is Marilyn, and welcome back to Candid Conversations. This is season 4, and we're taking a different turn. I'm going to be having more guests, just having general conversations, as you will hear in this podcast episode, because I feel like it's time to have community and to have conversations. I feel like I've given enough information about life and how to's, and I just want to bring a more community feel to this podcast rather than me just being the expert and there just being interviews. I want to share my story in relation to the people that I speak with who come onto this podcast. So I hope you enjoy this podcast with my special guest, Chia Phoenix, who's going to be joining me for several podcasts. So she's going to be my co-host. And let me know, share, like, and subscribe. Hello and welcome back. Season 4 of the Candid Conversations, and we are at the 9th month of 2023, and we're changing this up a bit because I actually got somebody that's going to be co-hosting with me, and we're going to be in conversation, but it's going to be something without labels actually. We're just going to go with the flow and see what's happening. And I've got my very special guest here, Chia Phoenix. I'm going to get her to introduce herself.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Auntie Marilyn. It's so lovely to be back and in conversation with you again. And hello to everybody that is listening.
Good. And could you just tell the listeners a bit about you? And before you start, actually, I just want everybody to know this is really a chilled conversation. I've got my hair in rollers. Chia just looks relaxed. It is that conversation. We are going to change the trajectory of this whole personal development space and what it should look like and how we should be in it. So anyway, carry on.
Oh, I love that. Just a nice chilled conversation between sisters.
Yeah.
About
definitely.
life.
Yes.
So my name is Chia Phoenix, and I go by the titles of creative activist, creative practitioner, creative facilitator. Basically what that means is I work in the creative fields, but I work in kind of creative rehabilitation, which is using the arts as a tool for reform, for expression, for self-esteem building. I work with young people and adults, and I'm an artist in my own right, and also a spiritual mentor. Although actually for most of this year, I haven't even done much one-to-one work because once we get going, we can have a conversation how the year's gone. But yeah, creatively flowing, I think, is the best way to describe who I am. Creatively flowing for, better mind, body, and spirit, I would say. Okay,
we're going to start our conversation. You said that you haven't done much spiritual mentoring. Why is that? What you've been up to?
So I guess, to be honest, the year started with the intention of continuing that of what I'd started in 2023. However, the end of we're in 2023, end of 2022. Look at me, I'm losing time. At the end of 2022, life just took a slightly different turn. I made the decision to leave my work. I'd had to put in a disciplinary. I was very, very exhausted by the end of this year. And what I didn't realize at that time was I'd experienced a massive trigger on a next level of my awakening. There was something to be discovered, and it started to show itself from around the October, where things just start to get irritant around you. You're triggered about different things. Your spirit's bringing your attention to different things, but you're still staying on track of what it is you're doing. And I'd also decided I started a new round of therapy at that time, but I didn't know where it was leading me. The year started off with some dramas, felt people were just taking liberties, some violations, friendships, relationships, things like that was starting to change. But it hit literally first, second, third, fourth week of January. I had He's Vulnerable When, which is a documentary I created on the vulnerability of Black men. So I had a screening prepared for the end of February. discovered in that period of time from January to February through therapy that I'd had complex PTSD.
Yeah.
The complex PTSD is a form of PTSD, but it's when you've had multiple traumas happening in your life with some, harder ones that had happened from when you were young. I'm not really hung up on the specifics of it all, more than just bringing it up and releasing it. And basically, it just changed my whole brain pattern. I had not realized that unconsciously I'd had this other trauma that was actually controlling the way that I think, the way that I move, the way that I interact, my connections, all of that sorts of stuff. And basically, I went through this whole process where my brain just had a different overhaul. It was like, it was one way and then it just became another way up. And I started to see everything around me differently.
Yeah.
And that just made me draw inwards to me. Like I could see me more. I could see more of my value. I could feel me more. And I had a better access to where I wanted to go. I could see the difference in the fog that was there and the fog clearing. And I just haven't had any time and space to allocate at that time much to anyone or to deliver too much workshops or whatnot, because I've just been nursing, rediscovering myself, looking back in the past in a different way.
Two things. I've had, myself have complex PTSD, which I'll come to in another point. But I want to go back to, it makes sense when you said that you reacted from your brain being a certain way. And of course, you're not going to be able to run workshops, because if your brain, it's the same brain that created the genius as well. It's the same brain that created the workshop. But if that brain has changed, it's almost like we're learning to ride a bike again. You can't run your workshops in the same way, because that part of your brain that was in a trauma response, like a trauma response, is actually allowed, is coming out the body somatically. So you can't, it's almost like, imagine it's like you're trying to stop yourself giving birth. That's the only way I can liken it to, or getting like when you're getting a tooth pulled out, which I heard people say is the same, baby. Like a really painful tooth. Once it's coming out, you can't leave it there.
Yeah.
Because it will really hurt. So you literally have to pull it out. And I think what you said about your brain, it makes sense.
No, you're absolutely right. It was just an eye-opener. It started off with a microaggression, then just seeing patterns in different things and different people. And then obviously I'm being asked questions by my therapist. And, I'll never forget when she said to me, permission to take up space, like was just in January, right, we're going in. You need to take up more space. You need to be more vocal. And it was so direct. And I remember also when she said to me, you sit in front of me so neat and perfect. And I thought that I looked at myself, you're on Zoom, you're talking, I looked at myself and I was like, oh my God, I'm so neat. And that my therapist telling me I'm so neat and everyone's telling me I'm taking up, I'm so big and this, that, and the other. And she's telling me you're not being big enough because you're like, I was compliant. I wasn't always reacting the way that I needed to react, because also the trauma response was fear of losing people, fear of people changing. Like it was always me proving my value in some way, shape or form, and people making me feel like I'm crazy because I had these other feelings. But discovering and having an understanding of the complex PTSD without diving, I wasn't even trying to dive too much in it. I was just like, I want to be aware of this thing. I just felt myself so much more, and it changed the narrative in my head. It made me be like, well, if they don't care about me, I don't care about them, innit? Like, rather than all this extra anxiety, I realized how much cortisol levels was in my body. I didn't realize I was so anxious all the time. I didn't even recognize it. Like, that was the maddest thing, was for me to go to do little things. Like, even with my cat, my friend's like, can you just relax? Like, you get so nervy and worried for midnight. And I was like, I know, I'm aware of it now. Like, are you okay? Is this whatever? And I was thinking, gosh, when I had my previous cat, Gemi, I didn't even know I was even feeling like this, because so much used to happen at once after the other. I didn't even have an opportunity to say I'm full of anxiety. I just saw it as, I got to get through this and I got to keep moving and I can do it. And then also I had my pains for the last 3 years.
Mm.
At the beginning of this year, I had a hook, a spiritual hook in my back. I'll never forget feeling this pain digging in my back and spirit saying it's a hook, and me not even understanding what spiritual hooks were, and
Mhm.
feeling pain in my back, pain down my arm, numb in my little finger, pain down my sides and whatever. And I had to just draw back
Mhm.
from everything to talk to myself, talk to my body, talk to my soul,
Mhm.
understand this new brain, work this muscle in
Mm.
my brain and discover how it's seeing the world and seeing how different it was. Because I literally at one stage had two brains. I could see the old and the new.
Yeah.
I could see what the old brain had done and that I was thinking in this new way. I was aware I'm talking different. I can feel the vibration of how I'm talking. I'm more,
Mm.
I don't know, there's more of a stability or a groundedness that I can feel in myself as I'm talking, which means that the vibration has also changed in what I'm transmitting. Because there's another graduation. And then when I come out of this graduation, I would all this information that has been come over the last 7, 8 years and changes, it's going to develop me to be the next level of creative facilitator, practitioner, therapist, whatever it is. But you
Mm.
need to allow the time for experience and life to transform to the next level of the awakening. It doesn't just come to you. You've got to have the experience. It's like a singer, innit? It's like Adele. Every 5 years she did an album because she had to live life in those 5 years in order to have contents for the album.
I'm just going to put a pin there. Um, that makes a lot of sense what you're saying about your journey, and it's really important to create pauses after you speak because what you say is so full, so rich that it does require digesting because it's so much truth there and there's so much food for thought. So I want to give that the space and respect it needs. And when you were, I mean, I'm typing things down because I think it's really important to refer back to in the show notes. But it's funny when you said about that split because when when we're suffering from any trauma, the brain will protect itself, so it will split sometimes. And it's it feels to me as you're talking, I'm just seeing a lot of people saying similar things, and I know there's things with the planets, but it reminds me of you said about cortisol levels, and again, at the beginning of my year, my last coaching client was in December. I just finished two clients, and they did really well. And I had a health challenge that come up first week in January or last week in December. I got a letter and through a doctor, and it was pretty. It wasn't something that I couldn't change, but it was pretty scary. And I mean, it wasn't no life threatening, but it could potentially be. It wasn't life threatening, but um, what I thought at the time is I don't have the time to make myself well. And one of my clients is a doctor, so I just don't have time. I'm just gonna, no, I don't have the energy. I can't work on myself. But this is when the body was saying no, and the universe was saying you have to sit your ass down. And I had no clients. And the weird thing was is that I got the commission for the documentary, the audio documentary, what I'd applied for just really off the cuff.
Mm.
Someone sent me a message and I applied for this funding and I got this funding and it was going back and just telling a loud story. But what I think universe done is like you're gonna really be slow. We're gonna give you this money and you're gonna just be slow. But it's not gonna be at the pace. And I had to deconstruct. That's the word. I had to deconstruct and decolonize myself and um realizing because if I'd been doing a trauma training, but actually realizing that I needed to stop and my body, what it turned out was that my body and liver my adrenals were shot. And you said the cortisol. And the reason why your adrenals get fired up yes, the pill is one of major things. When you all got gynecological problems, the pill is one of the biggest major problems that we have. But um, I'll have to really catch my thoughts. It takes a long time. But I was diagnosed with ADHD, another trauma, because Gabor Maite talks about that. So that's what I did. The unpacking came at a different level because I had to slow down. I didn't have a launch, get clients. I just had the art, and use there as well. And the cortisol, and I couldn't have alcohol, couldn't have sugar, because my adrenals are fired. I saw a homeopath, I saw a naturopath, and kind of, I didn't have a drink. Christmas was the last time I had a drink. Such a difference. I gave up sugar. Such a difference. I lost so much weight, but but what it taught me is to really go with it and be slow. I remember I said, I feel alone. I feel isolated, but I realized I needed to go through this big pressure. But going back to the cortisol, what I realized is that I'm a survivor, in terms of there was domestic violence in the house that I grew up in, and we normalize it as a family. I think we normalize it because it's the only way to cope with it. And when I got to the bottom of it, was that realizing that, and obviously I did the ayahuasca trip, so it showed everything. I did ayahuasca in between that, and it showed so much what's going on and back down the family line. But coming to terms with the fact that the household I grew up with, as much as my parents stayed together, it was great for them. It was very unsafe for me and my nervous system. And so what had happened is, like what you're saying, and like so many other people, we manage, and it's very common A-type personality. We manage and we keep going and going and going and going, and then something triggers you at work, like what did with you. Or my body says no, so I have a health, because I haven't got no work. I've removed myself from the work. I'm the boss. So if I was at a workplace, that would have been the trigger for me. You understand? But because I didn't have the boss, I was my own jailer. This is what happened. But it's the same thing. It's because of the stress response, the cortisol levels, that this is where the repairing. And I have literally turned around everything that's happened. I've turned it around, but I didn't believe it. But I had to accept that I came from a really traumatic childhood. I had to admit that.
With each new layer that strips down, with each new day of understanding, I just realized just how delicate and sensitive I was before all of this stuff. Because once I'm getting down, I'm like, I am underneath, regardless of how anybody wants to see me, be whatever it is. I am so sensitive inside. And this made me also think about value. So this year came up and I was like, people don't value me. Like, I'm at work, I'm doing all this work. This person doesn't value these people. Not the workplace. It wasn't my boss. It was just my team. I was like, they don't value me. And I had the flooding come back because I was like, it was like the triggering was, it doesn't make a difference how much of a good friend. It didn't make a difference how much people I've supported or healed or anything like that. I'm here going through this, that, and the other. And nobody doesn't think of my feelings. Nobody treats me like I'm of value. Nobody was treating me like I was gentle and soft enough to be like, I'm so sorry that I did that to you. That might have affected you here. Like, especially when I'm quite an open book about my pains, my this, that, and the other. And I was like, I value me. And that's what this opening of the mind was. I value me. I value my body. I value my health. And if people want to disappear or don't want to talk to me or nobody wants to come for workshops, I don't care anymore. Because I found the value in my own self for me. And then what it did is it lifted the value on all the people that really valued me. And certain relationships and stuff became golden. They opened because now I'm more present, aren't I? Because I've brought up this complex PTSD, I'm more present with people. I really can feel the truth at a whole next level. And I wanted to see who was going to hold me through this. You know, I made a point of those that was close to me. I made a phone call to say, I need to let you know this. I've discovered this, and it means this, this, and this. And it means I had went through this, this, and this. And right now my brain is evolving. And I'm telling you, because I realize I as much as I feel I've been present for you as my friend, maybe I haven't been as present because I've had this unconscious thing.
Yeah.
That allowed those that I feel loved and valued me to hold me in a way, and I could relax.
Yeah.
And it's been beautiful, but it has been tiring, and it has felt new. I think our previous tools, hello, look at the little cat. So
He's
cute.
wet, but he's just.
Oh, look. Midnight is I can see her eyes. Sorry, people who are listening, you can't see. We're just having a cat appreciation. Marilyn has her cat, and my little
We've
kitten
got
is
an
sitting
orange
on
cat.
the sofa.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
Karen, so you had to tell people basically, like, this is.
I changed the way I was structuring.
Yeah.
Well, after I'd lost, friends had lost, they'd gone. I'd realized I can't take this. I don't want to be this person in these people's lives. I don't want these types of relationships. I don't want this. But I made a point of those that's around just to say, look, this is what's happening. And I need you to help see me through this. I'm very tired. My body is really hurting me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to adjust, and also accepting my mental health, because for me personally, growing up and having a grandmother with schizophrenia and having a dad that also had nervous breakdowns and had been sectioned, I spent most of my life not allowing anybody to diagnose my mental health in any way, shape, or form, because people are ready to put it on you. And then with my passion and my energy, I've had people be like, whoa, and it was really a big trigger. And then to get to a place where my brain, and I was like, oh my God, how did I get here? Like, my therapist was like, you've done so amazing. I don't know how you've coped to here and still shine so bright and do what it is that you're doing with all of that you had going on, knowing that actually I've probably been in mental crisis my whole life. I've probably been in one long breakdown and I don't even know how I don't even know, to be honest, because now I can feel the difference in what my brain was doing before.
But your body protected you, because if, as a people pleaser, it kept you in control, because the opposite could have been that you could have become have narcissistic injury, where you had to, so because like a lot of, I don't know, I'm not enough, I just can't diagnose these people, but you hear a lot of, they throw this word narcissist around, but a lot of the people that have had a quite traumatic upbringing, they can become one of the many spectrums of narcissists. Most narcissists are problematic. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but when I think about it, your body was protected, your soul is wise and kind, but it could have easily have gone, especially for a parent with mental, it could have easily have gone on the opposite spectrum, where I'm in so much in pain, I'm going to hurt people.
You are absolutely right, because do you know, listen, that's the biggest thing I've had from people. Why did you say anything when that happened? You should have cut off this. And I've said, do you think that inside I didn't want to do that? There's been enough times in my life that even with a little explosion, a little of, I'm not dealing with this, and people's like, you're mad, you're crazy. And I shut down, because I couldn't believe that they couldn't understand why I was even feeling how I was feeling or reacting right now. And so many times in life that I held it, the allowances, like even when I think of relationships or friendships where I think I would see things that didn't feel right, and I would make it about me, and I'd say, it's because your head's running, give that person a bit of time, you've always had this problem. I always had people put it on me, and I was always triple checking myself. When if I had stepped out of line even a little bit close to what is they done, people were just close. They don't want to talk to me again, ever again. And I'm thinking, but you've been like this consistently, or you've had this patterns of behavior, and I made allowances because you're my friend or you're my lover or you're my family. I made allowances and allowances, but you never saw that I'm hurt because I was turned because of how I appeared.
Well, it's
So,
about the fawning, the people pleasing aspect of trauma that you
oh,
probably stayed in, or you probably ran, flight. And I think I feel, unfortunately, even with the plant medicine culture, I think that like, tools and support, like ayahuasca, psilocybin, and all those other tools, any plant medicine tools, they're tools that we must work with. And the shadow work still has to go on. But what people tend to do, they tend to use those tools and then say, I'm healed, I'm this. You haven't even, you're just at the threshold. You haven't even started. I think my journey has started now, after 6 to 9 months of deep exploration. I've had a metamorphosis, but I haven't even entered the threshold, the sacred temple. I think I've had the transformation in the forest, and the sacred plant medicine has led me and showed me my purpose even more so. But I think I'm at the threshold of the temple, and I think there's some more shadow work to go. There's some, and again, buzzwords, but there's some more depth work, archetypes, working with my paintings and finding out what is the story beyond me.
I think
Yeah.
spirit slows you down to go back to how it was in the beginning of this discovery. Not because, I think because there's so much information out there, people are like, I got this, I got that, whatever. But spirit is supposed to lead the way for the unfolding. And not everything spirit needs you to dig up in that. Spirit, just something spirit was there. I just wanted to show you this.
Yeah.
So this is it, so you can deal with that. This thing I need you to see. But you
Yeah.
don't always have to see everything, because some things would have held you back. If I had known what I know now about things that have happened to myself 6 or 7 years ago or before that, I would have had a breakdown. It would have
Yeah.
been overload for me. I would
Yeah.
never have
And
been
you
able.
don't want to see that. You don't, and the thing is that the part of the strength of character and the soul, or whatever you call it, is from the experience. Is because at the beginning, when you're telling somebody, no, I don't want to do that, or actually, I don't approve of that, or actually, um, it doesn't feel right. At the beginning, that's so fucking awkward. That is really, really, really difficult. But when you do it the second and third time, you feel free. It's like me saying to you, oh, I feel really isolated. I feel like I'm in betwixt and between. Third, second, third. I've come to the place now, which was the metamorphosis. I understand. And I wouldn't change that part of feeling self-isolated and lonely, but it was an existential existential loneliness. I would go through that again, because now I understand. But if I saw that and someone said, oh, you're going to be lonely and blah, 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 you're going to feel this way, it's not going to work. But I think that the tools are there they're guides for us. They're guides to show us, but they was never meant to be the be all and end all. They was there to teach us, and then we were meant to go away and do the work. But what's happening, I think, now with people is that people think that they had control because they could go online and talk about it.
Yeah.
The problem is that what we've seen after 2, 3, 4 years, especially after lockdown, is that people have gone online and they're still in the same problems, haven't progressed. I think the people, yes, we're going to show this podcast is going to be a podcast, but I think the people that are really getting it are no longer of they're no longer being that visible on social media. So when I'm saying is they're no longer going on a live and talking about X, Y, and Z. What's happening? They're doing it away from social media. So there's a big movement of people that are doing the work, but you're not knowing about it on social media. It's in their communities. Or people are writing. I'm on Substack. A lot of people are writing. We're going back to blogging. We're taking the lens away from ourselves, and we're doing the work because it's become too much of a much. But I want to ask you some questions. I'm going to do a set of questions.
Okay.
So the first one is, with what's been happening with you, how are you defining friendship? What does friendship mean to you, or community?
I don't even, okay, yeah, I don't even know what the right way to describe. I just know that I'm 43 years old.
Mm.
I have certain morals, I have certain values, I have certain standards, I have certain values. I am at an age where we're just older and maturer. There's a level of maturity to stepping into why people are talking to you or not talking to you in the first place.
Yes.
Like, I don't have time for child's play. I don't have time for silly little things that feels like being a silly little girl. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's in the same in relationships, whatever. If I can't have a conversation with you, if I can't be annoyed, if I can't just tell you direct A, B, C, D, sometimes things is uncomfortable with friends. Sometimes we're at a grown age where when you really care about your people, it means sometimes there's uncomfortableness and we still celebrate and have high levels of vibration. And I
Oh.
want to feel loved. I want to feel included in the community in all ways.
Mm.
I'm not just, yes, I'm Chia, activist, spiritual, mental. I'm not here just to serve. I'm here to have experiences and be included. I'm here to be loved. I'm here to be hugged. I'm here to be touched. It's not just about what I can give out. And I want to have people that I hear be like, girl, I missed you. Where you been? Like, if I was to go away for 3 months, people have been like, where have you been? Listen, girl, are we going to go out? What are we doing? Like, I want to hear that. I don't want to, I live, especially with those of us that live alone. I want consideration for the fact that I live alone. I want consideration for the fact that I am a childless woman. Like, I've spent my whole life considering everybody else's children and this, that, and the other, and
Yeah.
they want it. I need consideration back. I'm a human being just like everybody else, and I've made different decisions. But I still want those decisions to be considered, not petted against, not told that because I don't have this or this, whatever, life is easier. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. In fact, as a single person, I'm covering every single damn thing myself without any little help. If I wake up in the morning and my shoulder can't move, I got to find a way to get out of that bed.
Yeah,
Anyone for me to
exactly.
talk to? Yeah. Every last bill, there is nobody to ask me, can I make you a cup of tea? Yeah. So I just want the consideration back. So and my friends, they do. Like, I've got the people there that's like, I'm checking in, you all right? You good? Whatever it is. The same way I'm like, I know you're busy with the family this weekend, blah, blah, blah. It's just an even exchange of love is what defines friendship to me, in community, in unity, in love relationships. Like, just meet me here. I can't do all of this whatever's going on out there, lying, this, that, and the other. I just being this person here, this person on socials, this person buys. I don't have the energy to be a million different people. I just want to meet people here. I want to feel people where you tell me I'm this, I'm struggling with this, but I love this and I'm working towards this and I'm growing through this. I want realness,
Yeah.
and rawness. So yeah, that's what millions of words.
No, yeah, but it's not. It's not, because I think you're right. I think that I suppose when we find out who we are, um, it's good to kind of know what you want in friendship, because I think that especially when you've had a PTSD or complex PTSD, you've been a people pleaser. Our friendships are not that they've been either really, in terms of myself, they've either been really boundaried or not boundaries at all, where I'm overgiving and I becoming too much. And also I'm dysregulated because I've got ADHD. So we don't have that filter. And it's not until this day I realized all the things I did in friendships is also my ADHD's played a big part. So for me, what I've realized, because a lot of my old friendships, I don't really see them. And I think I needed to have space away from them, because again, it's this big change going through this metamorphosis. I'm post menopause. I'm 56. I'm childless again. So I'm finding out where I fit in this world as a person that leads others, a leadership role, but also again being that super competent person, that super well behaved, the good girl. And my body's saying, this isn't right. you're conforming. There's a level, even though you're creative, you're still conforming. And so I found that I was always a giver. I was always a caretaker for a lot of people, even though I had my own drama and my crazy relationships. We'll come to that about relationships in a minute. I still felt that because of the childhood trauma, there was a level of me that I didn't feel enough. And so when lockdown happened and was in my own company, I had no choice. I started to feel so empowered. And I thought I'd be really lonely being in lockdown, but I wasn't. I felt so empowered. And then I thought, I need more of this. Therefore, I don't want any outside influence. And so I'm not going to really connect to friends. I'm just going to skate because that's very superficial. Skating community is cool, but there's a level of, we're just there to skate. It's like going to aerobics class. You're just there to do that. But what I realized with the friendships that I formed post-pandemic or during pandemic, people would come in my life, they will go, they'll be around, we'll just, people would move on. And so for me, at first, I thought, my God, I'm unfriendable because I cannot make any new friends. But what I realized what was happening is that I was looking and being discerning because I was looking from a lens of a regulated system rather than a dysregulated nervous system. And at the beginning, it was really fucking hard because there were people that just couldn't fit. They couldn't meet my needs in terms of what friendship was. Exactly what you said. Check up on me, not just call me when they just want to offload. Communicate with me. Want to just dump on me. Most of all the stuff that I used to do before as a people pleaser, when I stopped doing that, I realized that, or when I noted the people I didn't continue friendships with, or they went into the acquaintance book, I noticed when I wasn't playing small and when I wasn't doing the mammy part where I'm looking out for you because you've got problems or we're trauma bonding. Once I weren't doing those things, the relationship fell apart. And I think that was the foundations of all my relationships. Because if I'm not serving you, which is to happen in my home, or I'm not being a good girl, so people pleasing, or being a mother, caretaking you, then I don't have a role. And that's what I carried unconsciously in my shadow. So what I'm realizing now is I'm open. I'm open for honest relationship, but I've got to show all parts of myself because I used to hide. I remember telling some traumatic ex, I'm shy. He said, no, you're not shy. And I used to say to certain friends, I'm shy. I'm shy because I don't show the other sides. And when they would come out later on in a relationship or friendship, people say, well, who is this woman? But it's all sides of ourselves, allowing all of me to be seen. And this week, I had an epiphany. This week, I thought to myself, I actually am going to do social media and all the other stuff my way. I don't give a toss what people think anymore. But it was so buried deeply because you've got to market this way, you've got to do this, you've got to paint, I don't give a fuck. I'm just doing the work. I don't care because it's the same people I'm trying to please, an imaginary group of people. But I thought I was just feeling frustration. Actually, I'm still in that people pleasing.
So for myself, that my page, I'm just forever battling where people are like, yeah, but you don't do this or you don't sell this or you don't do that. And I've for all my life been like, listen, I never followed what anybody's plan is for anything, but also just understanding who I am in my womanhood.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit in with everybody else. It's like, I give you one example before you just move on to another question. It's like all the stuff around are lots of womb stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've spent my whole life, I've never had
cramps,
nothing. Yeah. I don't deal with people. I don't have, when I turned like 33 or something, I started to get a little bit of headache. I get a little bit tired, whatever. But I was the young person that would be going to play netball, going like running around, dancing. I had a lot of energy when I was on my monthly. And I always was isolated because I didn't have pain. So I was made to feel something's wrong with me because I don't have pain. to come to get to this age to realize that
Mhm.
you're doing really good, because the pain was the sign of other things going on for people and you fit in this other box. But, you know, people would bond, women bond on these things. Yeah. The same way
Mm.
when it comes to children, I never tell people that I did or I didn't. But the way people approach me and say, oh, how do you feel about that? Well, you didn't ask me if I wanted or I didn't want, or if I'm happy or unhappy. You're assuming and
Mhm.
you're putting a narrative on me of all women. The same way with marriage. People just say to me, yeah, but you know, you really got to think about that. And you really got to think. I never told anybody, Auntie Married, I've never told anyone in life I wanted to get married, you know. Not one people has asked me, but do you want to get married? That's a
Mhm.
different conversation versus making me feel that I'm at a minus because of what
Yeah.
you would expect from me. And that's because it's the conscious, it's the herd,
Mm.
fitting into the herd, rather than you just having your unique path and having people around you being like, well, that's Chia. That's Chia. And I
Mm.
love Chia for the way she is and the way that she moves and the woman that she is for who she is. But I
Mm.
don't need to have this imaginary competition thing or
Mhm.
have to speak like this in this place or behave like this. I even have people that say to me, yeah, but you can't wear all your nose chain and stuff like that to work. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Nobody questions me in those
Yeah.
spaces. I go into prisons with it all. No one's got an issue. So why are you making me feel it's because they can't be them authentic selves
No. And
in all
yeah.
spaces? And people that I've realized this year that people approach and talk to you based on what their limitations are, and they think everyone else is doing exactly the same way that they are. So if they are lying or they're manipulating or they're not being their authentic self, they think everybody's doing it, but they
Mhm.
don't realize that we're not. Some of us, it did just happen that way. We didn't do
Mhm.
anything to make it happen. I didn't do anything extra for people to follow me or anything. I just kept my page as it is, as me.
Mhm.
And that little network of people that like to follow me and tune in is for them. I didn't
Yeah.
start dancing on the gram to get more reels. If you know me,
No.
you know I've been dancing from six and that I've had a whole career in
But you
dance,
were dancing anyway from
but they
before
don't realize
lockdown.
because you've got all these other people that keep trying, have tried all these new things to be relevant and to be validated, and then people just put you in. And what happens is people stop respecting people's journey of how they got there now. You're not digging into that. It's deeper, like what you said, it's deeper. There's more depth. And for me, I like to hear your thread and your pattern, because then as I speak to you now, I'm like, oh, I understand who you are. It's like me suddenly just saying, oh, remember when I just messaged you? I said, no, you're Auntie Marilyn.
Yeah.
You're not Marilyn, you're Auntie Marilyn. Because I was just like, listen,
Yeah. That was so
you're
lovely.
older, you're wiser,
Yeah.
you're also my friend. But
Yeah.
out of respect and how we grow up, I'm like, no, this is Auntie Marilyn. She's held and looks out for me as Auntie. This isn't just Marilyn. I feel
Yeah.
rude now just saying Marilyn. This is
No.
Auntie Marilyn. Like, what are you talking about? Because it's kinship and it's me showing you I
Yeah.
love you. And
Exactly.
that's how I feel. The same way you might have a friend and be like, "Now this is my sis," or another friend, you're just
Exactly.
like, "This is my cousin." It may not be blood, but you know when people you're just like, "It's my cousin."
Yeah.
If you're like, they're as tight as.
Exactly. What's your non-negotiables in friendship now from these limbs? And thank you. I love the fact that you call me Auntie Marilyn. Just so endearing. You warm my heart.
Non-negotiables. I don't even, you know what? I haven't even thought about that properly. I think it's more safe. I
Good.
realized that
Really, really important in trauma work.
feeling safe
Yeah.
this year, I realized safe to speak,
Mm-hmm.
so that even if I'm losing it, I need to know that the person in front of me is like, whoa, what's going on with Chi? Why is she losing it? I need somebody to, I need
Yeah.
people to be safe in front of, to go left, right, up, down. And they're
Yeah.
still like, I still got you, you know, because they realize this is out of character or this is in character or they want to investigate what's going on or something. Not just like, why are you going on like that? Or I'm not dealing with anyone that's gaslighting. You're not gonna throw
That's really important. I
you're not
mean,
gonna throw nothing at me.
yeah.
Um, the safety in my body.
Yeah.
Because I'm very aware, and that's even with, I know you're gonna move on to relationships, but even in relationships or men around me,
Mm.
I need to know that I'm safe in what I'm saying, I'm safe in what I'm feeling, I'm safe in what I experience, I'm experiencing now, and that they're all working in conjunction with each other. That's why I said that I had to make the phone call to say to my friends, this has come up for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bit scary. And I'm letting you know, because I never used to be able to do this before. I
Yeah.
realized maybe I wasn't as close as I thought with people. So I'm offering you a piece of my vulnerability to see, can I be safe with you with this?
Mm-hmm.
To see where that met. And I was met with, I got you, man.
Yeah.
And people's roles just change. Everybody's checking in. Are you good? Are you this? Are you that? Whatever. Then I go for this. And my inner child is getting poured into by my male friends and my female friends. And they're just making sure,
Mm-hmm.
are you good? Yeah. We know you got it. But
That's so lovely.
I'm very thankful
Mm.
for the year. I'm very thankful for how my life has transformed. I'm very thankful for the healing that's occurred with my mum. I'm very thankful. I'm so present
Mm-hmm.
in that. And I'm thankful for all the other people that I've had and stuff in my life. But I know that I haven't heard much from people to say, you know what? I love you. You're my bridge and you're never coming out of my life. I never used to hear that a lot from people. I haven't had a man come in my life and be like, you're dope. You are this special woman that I haven't heard these things. And people don't know that many of us haven't had these things.
Yeah. And when they do, I mean, I think that's so important what you've just said. I think it's so important to hear that. And that's the end of part one's candid conversation with Chia Phoenix. I hope you enjoyed it. I found it so reassuring and reaffirming, and I can't wait for you to listen to next week's part two of this conversation with Chia Phoenix. Bye for now. We'll have the intro and outro back next week. So let me know your feedback. Take the poll, subscribe, and share this podcast.